Welcome back to Echoes of the Eye. Today I'd like to talk about the first tower. So, last video I talked about how I basically didn't do any of the core progression puzzles. I didn't get to the map room, I didn't do any of the libraries until after I'd beaten the game. And a lot of people chimed in to say how unfortunate that was. How did you even beat the game like that? It's too bad you didn't have the experience the game intended. But that's actually why I'm making this series, because it shows that an exploration-focused adventure game is a very robust experience. You don't have to do things in the exact order the game intended. You don't have to solve every puzzle. And the main game is like that too. If you go to Giant's Deep and you discover the huge typhoon on the North Pole and you decide that you're going to explore the tower inside, you don't get distracted by the fact that there are other things on Giant's Deep. You'll go back and you'll explore those later. You've got a tower to explore first. It's the interesting part. That's how I felt. Every time I was on the edge of solving one of these puzzles, I realized that there was something more interesting to do. There is no better example of that than this first tower. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Now, in my opinion, the first tower is one of the best parts of this game. Like, not just the DLC, but the entirety of the game. It is one of the tightest and cleverest little experiences. So, we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about why I didn't solve it, because it's not that I couldn't figure it out. It's that as I was about to solve it, I accidentally solved what it was leading me to be able to solve. So I accidentally jumped past it. We'll see what I'm talking about in a second here. Now, I really enjoy this tower, but it feels like it might have been intended to be one of the first towers that you visited. I think most people visited it second, but the tutorial that it gives you on how to interact with the dream world is very tight. It's a really good tutorial. And that makes me feel like, why was the second tower the place where players were going to go first? This tower is so much better. So is the third tower. We'll get to that later when we talk about the second tower. But here, as you can see, when you exit, you enter into this really dark area, and presumably you'll do this, which will light up the candles. There's a set of candles right there for you to light up too. Now, I really enjoy this experience because while a lot of it does happen in the dark woods, right away you can see this door. Now, if you're coming here second, you'll probably already know what this door is, but if this is your first time here, you're going to come up here, you're going to look over the door, and you're going to be like, oh, it's the pier. If I manage to open that door, I'll be able to take the boat from here to wherever I want to go. That's actually one of the most, this is how adventure-focused, or exploration-focused adventure games get you. This feels like the point of this is to look at the pier. Like, oh, now I understand what this situation is about. Oh, there's something over there that you don't even know exists yet. This is actually a jump-off point for later visits. And that's one of the tricks that this game constantly pulls. It will make you think you've solved the puzzle while at the same time escorting you past the actual thing, right? And it does this over and over and over. Like right now, for example, we have just opened the door. So now we can go out from this tower to any other tower we want by jumping on the pier here and, taking a boat to wherever we're trying to go. That's our reward. We can now take the boat. But that's not the reward, is it? The actual reward is that we can now get here from other towers. But we don't know that. We have to discover that as we, uncover the rest of the puzzle. So this is a wonderful example of an exploration-focused game. You're going through these things, and they're not like puzzles. You're not trying to do lateral thinking or trying to figure out how to do math or whatever. You're just exploring, and as you explore, you think you know the point. But it turns out that it's disguised. There's something else going on that you don't realize just yet. And here you can see the lake house. This is, and that's the boat that we summoned. This lake house is supposed to call to you. You're going to want to try and reach it. It is an obvious beacon in the woods. That's obviously where you want to go. Very similar to the mansion design. You know that that's where you're trying to get to, but you just can't quite get to it yet. This is probably the bridge you're supposed to take, but there's no bridge here, and it's not invisible. If you walk out there, you'll plummet into the water. If you light this candle up from here, you're going to right away see that there is something that can summon a bridge right over there. But even if you don't do that, you're going to notice that this is the only way forward, and it's going to lead you to that same location. Now, this is a little bit of a little hidden alcove, and I think they did that as sort of a primer to let you know that this place has hidden alcoves, because of course the main puzzle of this particular area is a hidden little walkway like that. Anyway, once you've summoned the bridge, you have learned the tutorial. This has been the tutorial sequence where you have learned all of the basic things that you need to know about interacting with the dream world. You know what candles are, you know how to open sealed doors, you know how to summon the ship, you know how to summon bridges. You now know the basics of how to work in this world, and it's all very nice and very easy. And when you cross the bridge, your reward is astonishing. Is that a guy walking in? Is that singing? What is this? Giving me chills. That's the lake house. We desperately want to go there. There are people there, and they're singing, and maybe they're weird cultists, but we want to find out what's over there. But there is just no way to get there from here. There's no bridge leading across to it. As we continue our exploration, lighting up candles and finding bridges, we will never be able to find a bridge to that house, because that's built specifically to not be possible. There is no bridge over to the lake house. What there is this weird hand. What do you think this weird hand is about? Huh. Now you know how hands work, just in case you hadn't figured it out before. But what is this? Where are we going here? There's another hand? What's up with this? Oh, it's that overlook that I said was a shortcut. This is it. You can go to this hand from that overlook, but you're unlikely to know that until you find the hand. It's one of those situations where this segment teaches you what the hands do, and the next segment shows you that you can reach a hand right from the start so that you don't have to waste time. Oh, look, this is the creepy forest, and this is where you will find the cultists, and you're probably thinking, oh my god, these cultists are a threat. They're scary. I better stay away from them. But yeah, they'll kill you if they find you. However, you can't just avoid them, because you can't find what you're looking for without following them. And that is the key here. You're learning that even though these are very dangerous people, you need to, follow them. You need to figure out where they're going. And that will really help you in interacting with the second and third towers, where you meet guards that are a little bit less easy to understand. These guards really make it easy to sort of see what these sorts of people are like, whereas in those places it's a little bit more difficult. Watch this ceiling here. Oh, I might have busted him. Normally there is this really cool hand shadow, but I think when I alerted him, he changed his posture slightly, so we can't see it anymore. That's a shame, because there is this super creepy shadow that he casts on the roof, and I think it's... Oh, there it is. See it? I think it's a bug, but that's one of the nicest, coolest bugs I've ever seen. So, I think it might be possible to beat this stage without going around, without figuring out the actual puzzle here. I think you can actually beat it just by being ballsy, because their reaction time is so slow. The first time I came here, I just continued to follow this guy, and nobody noticed me even as I followed him through the room full of people. And it took him like 10 seconds to catch me, and I ended up jumping through the fireplace just trying to escape my pursuers. You're not supposed to do that, but it is, in fact, something that is not too trivial. Or not too hard. See? You can almost get to it. This guy grabs you first, though. Now, obviously, you're not supposed to just jump into the fireplace the instant you see it. The whole point here is that you're supposed to be hesitant about this situation. You're supposed to be trying to figure out how to get in. How can you possibly get through there? It's full of creepers. It's full of people. There's no way that, even though the guards are not terribly threatening, there's really no way for you to deal with them. You know, they're all clustered around where you're trying to go. And it is possible to do some nice exploration in that area. You can certainly get all the way up to the house and then go around the back and that sort of stuff. Where is the bridge? Did I miss it? Oh, there it is. But you're not going to be able to get the golden prize while they're standing there, at least not without being super lucky. You're not really going to be able to deal with the fact that they're standing in front of that fireplace. When you come back later, it becomes pretty obvious that the fireplace is the secret. Not only is it the only red fire in the area, not only does it not hurt you, it's also, there's obviously an extension behind it, like a building extension. And if you have already discovered the map room, you've seen someone walk through it already. So it's one of those solutions where you know you need to get there. It's pretty obvious. But there's just too many guards in the way. How are we going to deal with all of these guards? This is when the puzzle kicks it up into gear. See, for an exploration game, this is a fantastic way to set it up. You start by being scared of the guards, avoiding them, and then you realize that you have to tail them pretty closely. You have to start to use them and explore where they're going with them. And that's a really wonderful way to set things up. It really is a progression where there's no puzzle exactly. It's just a matter of what you explore first and what you prioritize and all that jazz. And I think it works fantastically. The first time through here, you might avoid the guards, and then you might start to figure out where they're going, or go back to their village to see where they came from and that sort of stuff. You may even find out that the guards vanish and come back here before you found the secret passage and end up bumming around the woods for a whole cycle, not knowing where to go. All of these are things that are not puzzles. There's really no strong puzzle presence here. If there could be a puzzle, if you could claim there was a puzzle, then the puzzle would simply be that these guards vanish, and you have to figure out how to get back here once they're gone. Because this tower is going to get washed away in the flood. Once the tower gets washed away, you're going to have to wake up. You won't be able to stay in here either. Nobody is going to be able to stay here. Oop, I fell in. This is what happens. I'm going to show it to you from here. See how it all goes out? You just plain old wake up if that happens. There's nothing you can do about that. But when you wake up, you will find that all of the fires have gone out, both the central fire and the fire for each of the guards. And you're probably going to think that, oh, maybe those guards are gone, maybe something like that. If you've never been to any of the other towers, this is where you're going to start to think about going to the other towers and taking a boat back. But you've almost certainly been to the other towers. In fact, you've almost certainly seen that dock from another tower. So your instinct is, now you understand if those areas... there we are. Sorry, I'm trying not to get killed. Now you start to understand that this is a situation where if you can follow them, if you can... sorry, I'm trying to get there and it's being obnoxious. If you can take the boat back there after opening up that area, you can get there when there are no people around. And that is going to be how you're going to solve it. And so that's what you do, right? I think that's what everybody does. It's just a natural way to think about it. Now that the guards are gone, we can go back and we can solve it by going in from another place. And you realize that the boat pier that you thought was for you to go out from was actually for you to come back from. And that's just a wonderful way to turn it on its head and encourage you to explore other towers and all sorts of other cool stuff. But here's the thing. When I figured out what the solution was, I was excited. And I was doing exactly what you're seeing here. A little bit earlier. This was a new cycle the first time I was doing it, so the flood hadn't happened yet. And this was nice and early in the cycle, so I was not moving very fast. I was just kind of taking my time because I knew that I had to wait for the flood either way. And then I popped the boathouse into existence. And I was like, okay, well, now I can take the boat back to that location by just, casually floating down the river. And I was thinking, yeah, I got this down. I know exactly how to solve this. And then that's when my mind started to wander. And I said, well, I wonder if I can get rid of the guards in the mansion. Because I can get rid of the guards in this place, in the first tower, by letting it flood. Can I use a similar situation to get rid of them in the other towers? Can I figure out how to stomp out the fire maybe, or steal their artifacts from them, or somehow drop the thing into the water, the whole tower into the water? Is there a way for me to get around this? Can I get rid of the guards by ringing the bells at them? Maybe they wake up like I do. No, wait, they don't wake up like I do. Wait, there's so many things I want to try. Am I really going to waste my time doing this boat ride when I've got so much other stuff to do? I can come back to this later. So I'll just jump in the water. What? What just happened? Yeah, I discovered it by accident. I had just given up on the boat ride and decided to plunge myself under the water at the worst possible moment and solved the puzzle. Now, if you've never played the game before, what I just did was a loading zone glitch, and it's a glitch in-game. You're supposed to do this. And what this is it's something that you discover where we were going. When you go to the first tower and you solve that puzzle, you enter into a library that teaches you how to do this exact thing. And it also shows you that you can, if you go down here, you can blow out one of the 3 locks. And it's your clue that none of the locks are actually password locks. You're not supposed to actually use the passwords for any of them. You're supposed to bypass all of them. And this is when it clicks. You're like, okay, I've got to solve all the locks using tricks. That's fine. I can do that. And that was an interesting situation for me because all of a sudden there was no reason to solve the puzzle of the first tower. There was just something more interesting to do. I could spend, a full half cycle, more than half of a cycle, doing nothing, patiently waiting for the flood to happen, or I could look around here and see what's up. And it turns out that if you explore this place, all 3 of the libraries are here. I didn't know what they were. You can't reach 2 of them. 2 of them are not... There are 4 things here. The 3 libraries and the locking area. And I've already shown you the locking area, but these 3 libraries were places I didn't know what they were. I didn't have a concept of a library because I hadn't beaten any of the libraries yet. But it turns out that you can reach one of these libraries from here. This one. The other 2 are surrounded by moats. You can't reach them. If you reach the library from here, you're wondering what's up. And you're looking around like, oh, where is this? What is going on? So there's no passwords. Where am I? Oh, I'm someplace with slides. All right, let's see what's up. This is the discovery of the eye. It's just an intact version of something we saw earlier. Previously, they were hiding the fact that they destroyed their planet in order to come here. Now we can see them doing it. So when they recreated their planet in virtual reality for the dream world, they had destroyed it. They hadn't just left it. They had strip mined it to chase the eye. And this one, of course, is the strange thing. This is what you're supposed to learn when you beat the first puzzle, the first library. We were about to come here legitimately, and instead we came in through the back door. Mm-hmm. So if you come over here, and you flick this switch, down, down, down it comes. Right? Yeah, here it comes. It's just a long wait. So, now that I knew I could solve 2 of the 3 puzzles, the only puzzle left was the bells. And I was thinking about whether or not I could wake up the other characters with the bells, because we're all in the same room and the bells are all ringing. And then I realized none of them wake up. And so I started to think, well, should I like stomp out the fires or something? And then one thing led to another. And I solved that puzzle as well. And then I had solved the game. Now, when I solved the game like that, I had never been told that I was supposed to do these things, so I was thinking that it was a glitch, that I had solved it out of order. And I did, technically speaking. You're supposed to find out how to do these things, but it didn't weaken the experience any. The idea here for me is that these libraries are more like backups. They're more like ways to discover a mechanic if you don't discover it via the clues that are left when you're exploring the world. Now, in this particular game, I think it is intended to be quite linear. I don't think you're supposed to do it the way I did it. But I think you could make a game that is a little bit more exploration focused, where you could discover these mechanics yourself. You could create lots of little places where you might realize what these mechanics are and then create, you know, a safety net where if the player ends up not solving these mechanics perfectly, you tell them just straight up how to do it later on. Any way you cut it, there are a lot of possibilities in this space for making more approachable games. Games where exploring is the fun part, and the puzzles are not there to be hard to solve or require lateral thinking. The puzzles are just there to be celebrations. And you can see here, this is the extension I was talking about. The puzzles are here to be celebrations, things where your exploration is being rewarded. And this is a technique that this game uses quite well most of the time, both in the main game and in this DLC. And that's why I wanted to make this video. I didn't get stumped. I just kept going. There was always something new to explore, somewhere interesting to go. And to me, that was enough. I didn't need to solve every puzzle on the way over. I just wanted to do the most interesting thing I could find at the moment, and it turned out that that was beating the game. With my glitched out klutz version of these mechanics I was supposed to learn by doing puzzles. And at the time I was like, oh, of course I'm supposed to dunk these people in water or wake them up with bells or whatever, because it didn't make any sense to me that this game would have a required stealth mission. That's bonkers. Turns out it's got a required stealth mission. We'll talk about that when we get to the second and third towers. But, yeah. I didn't have to do those. I beat the game without them. That's it. In the next episode, we will discuss the second tower, and then we'll go on to the solution to the third tower. Or maybe vice versa. I haven't decided yet. See you around.